So right now I'm going to make my measurements at 13 inches wide. Now that I got those measurements, I'm just going to use this level to connect all the lines that I made to make one long line. So I'm just going to cut straight down from there. Now I'm going to use my circular saw and stay on the left side of that line so I'll get the exact measurement that was intended. Now, if you just take a second and just look at that right there, you see that I'm wiping the wood, being patient with the wood. It's dirty. You gotta treat the wood how it want to be treated. Nobody like being dirty. The wood don't want to be dirty. Pat, pat, pat. See, guys, everybody like to be pat. So what I'm doing right now is I'm gonna mark this is for the top and the bottom piece. You're gonna really see what I'm talking about as the video goes on, but I'm marking it at 24 and a half. So this is the bottom piece. It's the same thing for the one we just cut, 24 and a half, measured it at the top and then measured it at the bottom. And then you'll see me add that level again and make that straight line and cut it from there.
Guess what? I'm still on the playing field. I'll be right back.
And boom. You guys ain't know I had that. This is the best tool in the world. So right here, I'm just gonna make that one last cut for the top and bottom pieces. Look at that, beautifully. Cuts like a charm. So now that we got that top and bottom cut, it's time to make the shelves. So we're gonna cut those at 18 and a half. So again, top, bottom, and then we're gonna use that level to make that straight line. So I'm going to repeat this process a total of 3 times. And boom, now we're at the table. So this is gonna be the last shelf. Right now, I'm just cutting it down to 10 inches. Hey guys, I had to pause this real quick just to let you know that this right here is called a pocket hole drill bit. I know a lot of people might have been wondering what that was. And also to explain what this guy is, this guy right here is a pocket hole jig. And I use these to make my shelves. One more thing, this is a quick tip. Whenever you're using these, never jump straight into it, especially if you have used a different thickness of plywood. These things are adjustable, and a different plywood thickness might change the depth in which your pocket hole bit will go in. It might go in too deep, and then you might have to get a shorter screw, or it might not go in deep enough, then you got to get a longer screw. So always just check to make sure it's at the right depth according to the screws you got before you start any project. I'm going to be doing this to all three of my shelves, and I'm going to be making 2 incisions on each end of my shelf. So as of this moment, I'm placing my top and my bottom piece down to inspect them to decide which one looks better. I'm clamping these down very, very tightly because the hand router cannot move. I'm using this hand router around the edges of the top and the bottom just to give it more of a decorative look. And it will come together in a beautiful way once I add the trim. It will look exactly like crown molding, and you'll see that in the end. Only a manly man can do what you're witnessing right now. Operating a hand router with one hand. One wrong move and my project is done. So this is the look that I was trying to get, guys. If you look at it closely, that's that beautiful look that I was talking about. And once you add that molding around that, it kind of makes a ladder look that will make it look like crown molding at the top and bottom of your cabinets. I want to show you exactly what I'm talking about at the end, guys. Right here, I'm just marking down the format of where the trim is going to be just to make it easier for me when it's time to put the molding on. This is going to be done to the top and the bottom. Right now, I'm just marking where my shelves are going to be. I just measure down the same distance from that top line on the left side and on the right side and just use that level to connect them. Just gonna flip this over real quick so you guys can see exactly what I did. There's the lines right there, and those shelves are gonna go right under them. Right now I'm putting in the pocket hole screws. I'm pressing down really, really hard because once those screws bite into the wood, it will move upwards. If you don't want it to move at all, you have to add an extreme amount of force. So now it's time to put the shelves and the sides right on top of the base and screw those in. What I'm doing right now is securing the cabinet to its base. Again, I'm using pocket hole screws, and I'm going to be doing this to the top and the bottom. Right now, I'm just getting my measurements for my face frame, so I gotta go vertical and horizontal. This wood right here is for the face frame and also for the trim. I'm cutting these at 2.25 inches just so they don't overlap each other. Right now, I'm just marking the line where to cut for the bottom and the top of the face frame. Now I'm just measuring the distance between the top and the bottom now that the face frames are added. I chose the width of the side face frames to be exactly 1 inch. At the top, I noticed that the wood actually started to curve. So I'm just adding in a clamp to get it as tight as possible so it's flush with the side. Now that I got that out the way, it's time to make the first layer of trim. This is going to be placed all around the top, bottom, and sides of the cabinet. This right here is the desired look. It looks way better when you stack layers of that on top of each other. This time I'm using the hand router to make the second layer of trim. This is going to sit in front of the first layer, and because it's going to be cut at a lower width, it's going to make it have a stepped look, which is really called crown molding. It also makes the cabinet look way better and worth way much more money. I set the table saw width to 3/4, and this is going to be for the trim on the bottom, top, and the sides also. You already know what I'm doing. Who's that handsome guy? Me. But you already know what I'm doing now, guys. I'm just marking off exactly where I have to cut. Wherever the line is, I'm going to cut it at a 45-degree angle so that all the trim meets each other perfectly. Now that I've done the bottom, I'm just gonna flip it over and do the same thing to the top. Right now, I'm just getting my exact measurements for the second layer of trim. What I'm doing right now, I'm also going to be doing to the top. Now that I'm done at the miter saw, I'm going to line these up exactly where they have to go, and I'm just going to nail them down with my nailer. It's always better to add glue, but this time I actually ran out. And again, guys, the same thing I'm doing to the top, I'm going to be doing to the bottom. Now that I'm done that, I'm just getting the measurements from my face frame going sideways. I'm going to cut these down to 1 inch, and then after that, I'm going to take them to the miter saw station and cut all 3 of them. What I did right here, which you're about to see, is not safe at all. I don't suggest anybody do it. But if you made out of concrete like me, you don't got to worry about getting cut by that saw blade. So my next step is putting all these into position. After this, I'm going to get my nailer and nail them down. Now that I'm done this, I'm just going to give it a light sand. I skipped all the way up to 220 grit sandpaper. But after this, you're going to finally see the end result. And boom. I don't think any of you viewers has ever seen a better combination of wood. But this is the final result. I do online orders. I'm going to have my email in the description. So if any of you guys want anything built the way you want it, just feel free to email me. Everybody have a great day, and thanks for watching.